what they are anymore. Your inbox is totally on fire. Yeah, you wish you could set fire to it. And later has been lying to you for years because you know what? The truth is, you are the best kept secret, my friend. You're busy doesn't equal visible. Hard work doesn't magically broadcast itself across the radio waves. Nope. That's why the Brew and Stew Media Spotlight exists. That's right. A collaboration between Nicole Borghi and Colleen Stubbs. One booking, two podcasts, no pitching, no chasing, no pretending you enjoy the outreach. We know you don't. Nobody does. You show up, you talk like the authority you already are. Your message gets heard on purpose to an aligned audience. Stop waiting. Stop hiding behind the busy button and book your Brew and Stew Media Spotlight package now, because staying invisible is a choice and you're not going to do it anymore. You're going to be visible. You're going to be influential. Scan the QR code. Make that choice for the Brew and Stew package. Busy, booked, exhausted. Your inbox is screaming at you like a siren. Your calendar is still full. Still calling yourself visible and you're just the best kept secret? Turns out I was right there with you, my friend. Wasn't getting seen, was just the best kept secret. Wasn't getting heard, definitely, kind of getting paid. But here, the magic, my friend. It's a collaboration between Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi. The VoiceLab on the school platform shows you how to use podcast spotlights, summit stages, and simplified, yeah, that's right, simple outreach systems so your visibility actually works. Get seen, get heard, join the free VoiceLab on the school platform, and you're going to get it all. Because if you're working this hard, someone else should know about it. Scan the QR code today. All right, all right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the VoiceLab podcast. And how are you doing? It's Tuesday. We're here. We're back for more. And the VoiceLab fuels entrepreneurs how to stop overcomplicating marketing and use simplified systems and virtual stages to turn attention into authority and authority into income. And this is where visibility, stops being accidental. You're not going to just spray and pray on social media. There's no just, hey, showing up and faking it till you make it. There's actually a little strategy, structure, and some simplicity to make your life a little bit funner. And it's for entrepreneurs that want to leverage visibility as a marketing machine. So welcome back. It's good to be here. We're going to talk about today, what are we talking about? Your stage isn't just for claps and compliments. It's conversations that turn into clientele. So we're going to talk about the hidden lead magnet nobody is using, and that's your stage. I am your hostess with the mostest, Nicole Borghi. I'm glad you're here. I am all about leveraging visibility. It's real power for your business. I'm a vent to scale visibility leader, and I show entrepreneurs how to leverage virtual events as a marketing machine. Whether you're in virtual, like Zoom, online, you've got a Shopify store, or maybe you sell products on Amazon, right? Maybe you've got a great book coming up. We've got Plot Twist the Summit. It's all about whatever stage you need to use. You've got your mic, you've got your video, and you got to leverage it as a marketing machine. And I've got you here today. Welcome back for Tuesday, Colleen.
Yeah, so I'm so glad to be here. And just a little intro to who I am and what I do. I am Colleen Stubbs. I am the founder of Simplified CEO Systems. And what I do is I help you take those leads and get them put into your back office, get them put into a workflow. So none of your leads are dropped, ignored, or just fallen by the wayside. I help you put them into a workflow that actually communicates, that's automated, and it's going to go automatically. So while you're out there being the voice and face of your business, your leads are being nurtured in your back office. So in short, I help you simplify, go high level.
All right. This is what we're doing here, guys, today. Is giving you some tips and tricks on how to, leverage everything. That's basically what it is. And I keep saying it. Why? Because it's so important what we're doing. It's talking about using your stage because you can take your stage, you can change it, you can take everything from your stage and you can recreate, you can create from that stage time. You can get clips, shorts, reels, you can use it as training material, all that stuff that you have in your closet that you feel that you want to put out and you want to talk about that's just kind of sitting there on the shelf and you took all this time to put it out there. This is what it's all about. You're going to want to get on the stage and say, hey, that how do I be the executive of the after party right here? How am I sharing everything here? Where does this go? How does this flow along? And do I have to recreate the wheel? No. You've got this stuff in your back pocket. Basically, it's in your back office. What are you doing? How are you using it? So people will find you. And it's really gonna, it's so valuable and you get to have a call to action. And your call to action in your workflow or your call to action anytime you're networking is really about what is your next, either your next event or a product or service that you have that you want to share with people so you can get those people to sign up. So it just depends on where you're at. And it's really strategically inviting people into your system. They know they're going to go in there. I know it's a hard topic and people are like, no, why are people giving us their email? We don't want to connect with them. People give you their phone number so you could text them. If somebody says, hey, here's my phone number, text me. Let's have a chat after this networking event. Or, hey, you're on LinkedIn DMing people. Hey, you have a second? Let's get on a phone call. They give you the number, use it, right? It's the same with the email. We have this fabulous unsubscribe button. And here's another pro tip. You can put things into a folder on like Outlook and Gmail and set them to go into a folder until you're ready to get it. So maybe you don't read somebody's newsletter for a week, but the next week you're like, hey, I read this great article. I want to connect with this person. They're on top of mine. I think this is going to be a great collaboration. You can go in that folder and fetch it. You don't have to see it in your inbox every time. So you can basically put it aside for a minute and then come back to it. So if you can't organize your email, maybe that's another thing that you need to look at is take a minute. And you do that well, Colleen, when you're very organized and structured, like with your tagging and your systems. And if somebody's giving a lead magnet, like I looked back at my back office and I'm like, okay, a lot of this stuff is generically tagged the same thing. And then am I looking at who's getting this and who am I reaching out through to for certain stages? Because I want something to happen. And instead of just emailing everybody, maybe I should restructure it and look at what's going on in my back office. So I send emails out to the right people.
That's so important too, because we want to make sure that we're not coming across as spammy, but also it's just like anything else in life. You have some people, maybe some girlfriends that you go out with, and you have a point of conversation with them that may be different than when you go out with other friends, right? And so it's the exact same thing in your back office. You want to make sure that you're really reaching your audience with things that they need, that they want, so that they do open all of the things that come from you. A simple way to do that is to create an opt-out, opt-in form that replaces your unsubscribe list and or unsubscribe button on the bottom of every one of your emails. And so they can just click that and set their preference to what they really want to hear from you about. And then when you go to send your emails, you just use that filter of filtering out people with this form or in people with this form, right? And really, I love systems. I think it's actually a personality flaw, to be honest with you. I feel like I've always had a control issue and I have to have everything organized in a way that I can get to it quickly so that I don't ever panic. And so I am very articulate in my tagging system and how I tag people. And just a tip for those of you that haven't heard me say this before, when I tag people in my CRM, I tag them and I put next to, well, one of the tags I give them is what they do. And that's just what they do, right? And then who they want to, their audience, I put a plus sign and then the audience label. So let's say that Nicole's looking for bookkeepers. I would put Nicole in as an event strategist, and that would be just event strategist. And then for the tag, it would be plus bookkeepers. plus authors, plus whatever she's looking for. Sometimes you have to go back in and change those, as people progress in their business and as they really narrow down who they're looking to connect with. But if these are people that you're building relationships with, then it's something that you'll know about them and you can easily go in and do that. But the benefit of this, the biggest benefit is then I get in a network meeting and somebody says, "Hey, I'm looking for this kind of person." I can just go in and see, like maybe they're looking for an event strategist. I just go type in event strategist in my CRM and I can see who is an event strategist. Or if it's somebody who's looking for bookkeepers, I can go in and put plus bookkeepers and see who else is looking for bookkeepers, who else shares that audience. And then I can think, okay, would this be a good collaboration partnership? Like, would this person work well with Nicole because they're both looking for bookkeepers or whatever that looks like? Does that make sense? I think you muted, my dear. You back?
I didn't hit that. I hit the mic and I thought I was muted, but maybe I wasn't, and then hit it muted myself. Hey, so good morning. But I think it's good to say, hey, if you're organized, it helps in the long run. And if you're working with other people and you bring a team in, you're organized and they can find things and you're structured. And so that way you can delegate from there on out and people can understand that there's a way too much organization I've seen with people where I can't even find stuff that I've worked with and I'm like I have no idea where you put anything. It's so 12 steps deep. You can't find it. But it,
And
it helps make the business run smoother.
it does. And because I focus so much on simplification, I will tell you that generally in Go High Level, and this is my second, like I had a regular sub account first, and then this is my agency, right? And in my first sub account, everything that I got originally with Go High Level was labeled like RB0031 or KT056. And to me, that is like scrambling. Like we're not coding things here. I'm not here to code. And so inside mine, you'll see that I have the healthy routine planner is the title inside the emails, the title of the folder, the title of each email. Inside my workflow, it is titled Healthy Routine Planner. Inside my landing page for that, it is titled Healthy Routine Planner because not only am I simple, but I am like queen of the obvious. And I want it to be, like you were saying, Nicole, easy for anybody that comes on my team to go, okay, I'm working on the Healthy Routine Planner. So in each of these things, even in products, it will be labeled exactly what it is. And that way there's no question. Like this is absolutely the healthy routine planner calendar. This is the healthy routine planner product. They're all labeled exactly that. And for me, it's just a lot easier. I've sat with people and I've sat through the GHL training that explains why everything is SR051, and it still doesn't, like, it's still too much thinking for me. That makes me sound inept,
Well,
but I'm not inept. I just need it simple so it can be quick.
that's it. The problem is when you use things like acronyms or short abbreviations or codes, you're not in the military, right? And we had just in the police department and security manuals. I'm talking fat, thick manuals. Like I loved me a plastic sleeve. I thought I was the bee's knees if I got a plastic sleeve because you could just flip through stuff and you're working and you could see stuff. We had pictures, we had presentations, you could walk through stuff. So somebody could come into my office or into my site because sometimes, if somebody called in sick, we'd have to bring in somebody else from a different site and work that area. They could just flip through. Things were simply color coded. I had a oh gosh, what do you call it? Like a legend that people could follow, and then simple definitions for certain things, even though they were clearly the simple terms, but it's clearly defined so people can go through it and go, hey. So my site, because I was so organized and because people could come in there and simply work and we were outsourced, so there was other companies that went through there as well, let's just say for one of the bus terminals. So other businesses could come through there and they would come through there whether I was there or not, and they knew that we were like the site, right? We were like the model site that people would bring people to unannounced. As much as I love a surprise, not really, But people would come unannounced. High level executives from the county, from the city, from different states would come through there, even at federal levels, and be this. The place was organized, and they could see it. So they would have something to say, hey, no matter what, we have a place we can showcase, and here it is. The people were there, they were organized, people understood, we all kind of spoke the same language. So there was a flow, and I think that's a great thing to come into. So when it transfers to the stage, when you're strategically planning your stage, you know, just even like a podcast or a workshop, you want to plan that. So if you have a lunch and learn or you have other people coming in, then you want to make sure that they know what's going on, and that so if something happens, like let's say your live stream's not working. We had an issue the other day. The live stream wasn't working correctly. So what's the next step? You try to troubleshoot. So you have somebody troubleshooting. Will you still run the event? Because you don't want to stop the event. You have an hour to go. If you're 5 minutes in, you've got to say, hey, it's time to cut the ties. But that's something that you've already worked out behind the stages. And you have a routine and a structure to follow. So everybody's comfortable. And your audiences, you've already developed great relationships with them. So they know that, hey, this is a professional. She's on the stage. She's gonna share some great information. The guest feels comfortable, even if there's a hiccup. The guest feels comfortable and comes in, and that's okay. They know that they can trust us. So if something changes, if something goes awry, they know that they can follow you as a leader and that you have set that structure and that foundation so well. So we're going to get into it in a minute, this Alex Hormozy clip, where he's talking about different leads. But before we get to that, is there anything that you want to get over while I bring this up?
Yeah, let's just talk a minute while you're bringing that up. I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to say that one of the reasons that I set my business up so simple and with so much clarity is because should I not be able to be there, I could literally give access to anybody or say to one of my team members, this is what we're working on. And they can go in and just search, like they could go to the calendar and pull up, let's say, Plot Twist Summit. Pull up the calendar for that. They can go into the workflow, pull up Plot Twist Summit. They can go into the landing pages, pull up Plot Twist Summit. Over and over, it's the same thing. There is no confusion, but it's for an easy, successful handoff to somebody else. It's the same thing as when you build a business, whether it's online or brick and mortar, do not use your name. And why do we not use our name? I know everybody says, just use your name, use your name. And that's fine if you're going to keep it forever. But if there's a chance in the world that you're going to sell that business, then you don't want to use your name because you want it to be a simple transfer, right? You don't want to be like, okay, I'm going to give it to you. Now you have to rebrand everything. We're going to transfer ownership of it, but you have to rebrand everything because you can't keep callingstubbs.com associated with a business that you're selling to Mike Jack, right? So, it's just a simplification process that makes it simple across the board. And as an entrepreneur, as the CEO of your business, you have to think outside the box. Do not do cute or coding that only you understand or something like that. Because when it comes time to have somebody else in, whether it's an emergency and you're not available or whether you're selling, they need to be able to know the system and be able to work it as well. And so really bringing people in, and then I always tag them as well. Let's say that when we get the leads from Nicole's upcoming Plot Twist Summit that I'm speaking at, when I get the leads from that, I will get them in a CSV format. I will upload them, import them into my CRM immediately with a tag that is Plot Twist Summit. That tag is going to activate the workflow, the emails, the nurture emails that are going to immediately start going out. And so that tag, anytime I can go back and search who came in from that summit, and I can find who came in from that summit. I can find if they've been on any other summits that they came in on because they're always tagged coming in. And that's the importance of the tags, really. And so, Nicole, let's dive into it. I am so excited because when I look at these lead magnets, you and I are on the same page. We're at week 10.5. I have to be that girl. We're at week 10.5. At week 10, I always reevaluate my business, reevaluate my goals, throw out what's not working, shelf things that are really good concept, but maybe brought in at the wrong time, and then dive into really building out, leveling up, right? And so these lead magnets coming in is so exciting to me because I love these. When we dive into them, you'll see that they're much more personable than a PDF, a checklist. Although I have my checklist, I really am excited about these lead magnets. I feel like we're leveling up the entire lead magnet world by embracing these lead magnets. And it's really going to help you build your business. So Nicole, let's get into it.
So this just a little bit about this clip. It's Alex Hormozy talking about $100 million leads, and right here he's talking about a low level offer, and he's going to explain that. When you're looking at a low level offer, there's something I just want to queue up, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more after. The PDF or the ebook is not what people want. They want something simple that they can grasp immediately. They don't want it is a long game to retain the client. It is a long game to get that high level client. However, they want something right away that they can recognize, understand, and go, this is what I want for my business. This is what I need for my business. So it's what in it for them. It's not what's in it for you. Remember, it's about the person coming in. You can give them all the cool stuff at a later time. They can go through all the boxes in your closet, look at all the videos, pull out all those old tapes and look at that with you if that's what you want to do, and you can reminisce all about that. But right now it's about the first start is a low level offer. And the reason part of this came up was had a conversation with someone coming on the stage for the Plot Twist Summit and let them know that, hey, right now what's working well for lead magnets on a freebie is either something simple like a short tip paper, just a 1-page Google Doc. But but in all honesty, that's okay. That kind of, I was watching that and I'm like, what's going on there? All right, I see you're typing. Okay, so honestly, what that's something that you want to give away in a podcast, or you want to give away on your LinkedIn and your social media. What they really want from a webinar, a workshop, or a summit is more or less something like a school group that's going to give people something, or a workshop. Why? Because you're probably going to put the workshop together for free anyway. You can upgrade to a VIP if you want to add a phone call in that summit, but you really want to give something away that they're going to get something out of it, and they feel that they're going to get a little bit more of you because they want to explore you a little better. They don't want to just come here and get your freebie and get lost. And that it's a waste of time. But let's get to it. Let's talk about this. And I'm going to share this on the screen. Here we go. Make sure it's optimized, and
there you go.
Help you solve your problem. All right, this narrowly defined problem, and it's all valuable and it's free. It's yours. So what happens is a percentage of those people say, you know what, that is helpful for me. I do kind of suffer from that problem, and this is a low risk investment for me. All I'm really investing is time, and that is an investment. It's just for many people a lower investment than money. Less trust is required to give time than money for most people. So then a percentage of those people then consume the thing and say, man, this guy's pretty good at this thing. He helped me solve this narrow problem, but I have this other problem. And guess what? Now I say, hey, I know I fulfilled my first promise to you, is that I was going to help you solve this problem. I can help you solve a much bigger problem in this way. And now we make our core offer. And now we make it to a high trust group of people, and we have a significantly higher take rate on it. And so we use the lead magnet not because we're great people, but because we want to make more money. And we do that by building more trust and providing value in advance. And so that is kind of the before and after. Now, again, if you're brand new to this, sometimes you can't just go make a core offer. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying this is how I do it. A simple visual for you is if you had a bar or a restaurant and you gave out salty nuts for free, I just want to say salty nuts, some people, a certain percentage of people would be like, man, I'm kind of thirsty. And then you have ice cold water sitting there and you sell the ice cold waters. So even if you give away salty nuts for free, you can make it up and some in the profit you make from the core offer or the upsell in the situation, all right? And so an interesting factoid about this is like the reason Costco has done food samples for such a long time, they stopped during COVID because of germs, whatever. But like They did it for a very long time, and I think they're bringing it back, is that it drove sales. So they knew that giving away free food and paying people to sit there, giving away toothpicks of stuff, sold more product. And so they're not idiots. They're not just like, oh, well, if we give away all this free stuff, people are going to eat all this food and they're not going to want to buy, but they're not going to buy anything. Doesn't work that way. That's not how reciprocity works. It's not how, like, what happens when you try the, like, let's say you try all the things at Costco sampling, which many people do, all right? Well, you tried 20 things, but one of them you really liked. You're like, man, this bean dip, 7-layer bean dip's not that bad. And what do? You buy one. And what would you have not done if you hadn't done it? You wouldn't have bought it all together if they had offered none of those. So the cost of all those samples is the cost of delivering the lead magnet, but they make it up and some in you buying the thing, right? And so lead magnets get prospects to take one step closer to buying your stuff. And this is like if I can imprint this on you, a person who pays with their time now is more likely to pay with their money later. And so what we want is to get them to pay with their time early so that we can increase the likelihood they give us money later. That's the whole game. And when they pay with the time,
I think that says it all right there. You know, they're going to pay with their time now, and they're going to pay with their money. They're paying with your time now is your audience member or the other speaker at your event that's going to collaborate with you has invested time in the event. They've gotten to know you. They've built they're building a relationship with you, and now they are invested, just like the person that has showed up at the event. And you want to honor that person that showed up at the event and give them something good. So give them the toothpick with the salty nuts on it, or give them the salty nuts, right, in the little cup, right? You know, Trader Joe's does it. They give you good food. The person describes it a little bit, and Trader Joe's puts it where they have their little kiosk with the food. If they're doing coffee, that little kiosk with the person in it is right next to the coffee. Here's the coffee. Here's the packages right here at the kiosk. If they're not by the coffee or the coffee machine or the coffee aisle, they've got those exact packages that you can grab and dump in your cart. And they're going to direct you, here's some milk over there if that's your thing. Coconut milk, you want non-fat, non-GMO, super steamed coconuts, from the best farmers ever. You can go there and get that. They're going to direct you to it. It's just the simplest conversation, and we've made it so overcomplicated on these years. When you're coming to the stage, like a stage and plot twist, which you guys, shameless plug here, is April 21st to the 23rd. It is for authors. There is a few more spots left. It's for authors that want to share their book and what they wrote about their book, their journey on their book, or their story behind the book, or even for people who offer publishing support. Are you an illustrator? Maybe you have an audio AI. Maybe you have some type of system that can work for authors. Maybe you help people write their book. Maybe you're an editor. Maybe you're a ghostwriter. So publishing support, it's not a specific type of fiction, nonfiction, romance, that type of stuff. It's to support readers because we want to bring people back to not only reading, but in all honesty, I'd love to see some great people, some great literature back on those shelves again, because there's a lot of people out selling those books, but there's no structure, there's no strategy behind their book, and it's a little hard to follow because they try to be the number one person on the bestseller, but they didn't make money. But this is why we're talking about lead magnets and what is so important about sharing your stage and what converts. The stage itself is a lead magnet. You're leading people into your funnel. Watch us every Tuesday, 10 o'clock, every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So Tuesday, Thursday, we have Monday Morning Business Foreplay, 10 a.m. Eastern, Wednesday, Pain Point Podcast, 10 a.m. All these live events. Go to the VoiceLab group. That's where we're really simplifying your systems and your stage time. It's a funnel. In and of itself is a funnel, and people want a little bit more. If you give people a school platform, a group, they're not on Facebook scrolling through somebody's salad or their neighbor's drama or some political issues. If you go where we have it on the school platform, it is absolutely set around the theme of of simplifying your life, your business, and your stages, right? Back office, front office, anything that you're doing, even, video editing. What are you doing that can make that simple? That's what this is. This is in and of itself, right here. This podcast is a lead magnet. We're giving all this information away for free. And we'd love you to like, share, and comment on anything that you're watching. At least give us a thumbs up in the little bit and maybe a comment like, hey, how's it going? Right? What ask a question. We love to share with you, any information that we can help simplify your life or help you, to understand a little bit better and learn about this journey. But it's really like, what are you doing with your stage? And if you're on the stage and you're not talking to your audience and you're just presenting a way of something that's nonsensical and it's not aligned, then
Right. I think
that's not
too, let's dive in. You were saying that nobody wants the PDF, and here's the thing. They don't, because they don't understand it the way necessarily that you intend it to be understood. And so with these new lead magnets that we're going to present to you today, you can use your checklist or your tips list or your PDF, however that comes, in correlation with the new lead magnets that we're going to talk about. And so we have 4 that we want to talk about. Nicole, I'll take the first one. So VIP roundtables. And so what if your lead magnet is that you're providing a VIP roundtable? Number 1, that makes it simpler for you because it's so much easier to just sit and talk in a group than it is to get on 20 one-on-ones, right? And so maybe it looks like you have 2 roundtables with 10 people in each one, but you can get in there. You can bring your PDF. You can bring, whether it's a checklist, tips, a journal, whatever it looks like, you can bring that and go through that, touch on the highlights of it in your roundtable. And what that does also for you as the CEO of your business is it gives you the opportunity for live feedback. And so record that and then go back and dissect it, just like it's a ball game, right? And you're playing in the ball game. And then afterwards you go back and you look and you see where you should have done things different. Or maybe in this instance, you're going to see what part people were more interested in or what questions they had. So when you form a VIP roundtable as a lead magnet, this is what you're giving away, right? And they come in, they also get the PDF or the standard operating procedure or whatever that looks like that they're going to get. And you dissect that with them and go through it step by step with them. They get better clarity and are more apt to move on to booking that personal call or booking a consult to see if it's a good fit for business. But you also get the feedback from it so you know how to improve it. And you also get it done in like way less time than getting on all these different one-on-ones. Nicole, you want to take the next one? Or do you have any feedback on that? You're muted, my dear. Of course you are.
I unmute it and then I mute it again, thinking I didn't unmute it. I'm like a step ahead of myself. Whatever. That's okay. But so I think VIP roundtables are a great place for your PDF because that's the place, and even in a workshop, that's the place that you can tell people now, get your PDF out, get your piece of paper out, and we can take notes. We can workshop this in real time. And you're sharing with people, that's the tangibility of it. That's the moment that you're exploring this together and people see that you're giving them something, they're learning something, and they have a chance to question. So if we're going from VIP roundtables to private strategy invites, so strategic invites, are you inviting people, in your DMs to certain things, or like, hey, maybe you know somebody, or you want to. It's an invite only strategy that's really leveraging the scarcity of the moment that you got this private invite to this event that nobody else is getting invited to. Maybe it's a call. Maybe it's an invite into your roundtable or a master class. Not everybody's getting that invite, and you can let people know it's a personal invite. Don't use it as a ploy, but say I'm personally inviting you because I want these 5 people. I got one for tomorrow. There's only a core group of people. I think it's a special way to say, hey, you're a higher level person. I've collaborated with you before, and let's get to it. And it's a great way to to workshop with people and have that mastermind. And it's just like an executive way, an executive roundtable. Not everybody in the department's going to be in that moment. And then you can talk shop. So you're safe to talk shop and you're safe to be opinionated without necessarily a client there, because there's things that you want to workshop and talk, and you want to feel free to have a conversation and have an opinion and really come up with some new ideas.
Yeah. And Nicole, I love that. And I think that it really gives people the understanding of the value they hold for you. You know, you're not going to invite everybody into those. You're going to want to invite people that you know align and would work really well with your business, right? But then I also think, as far as private strategy invites, I'm going to turn that around a little bit. One of the things that I love to do with my clients, I love strategizing business. And so I have a particular client, I've probably spent 16 hours in the last 2 months strategizing with her. And this is because she is my client. But how valuable that is for her. But also, if I say to somebody who, when I'm giving them my PDF, my lead magnet, let's get together, let's really strategize how to simplify your business, what you should be automating and when, and what you should delegate, what really needs your personal touch. Let's get together and brainstorm this together, so at least you walk away with a clear path for the next week. And if you give that away, certainly it's a bit of your time, but how much value that holds for them. And then they know, going into a relationship with you where they're a client, how much value they can expect. If this is what you're giving for free, they know they're going to get much, much more as your client. And I think that that's super important. And it's something that you can really leverage. Let's talk about executive after parties, because I feel like, and I don't know this, so I'm going to throw it out to you, Nicole, to explain it to me, but I'm feeling like we're saying, okay, maybe I'm speaking in a summit and I say, okay, for everybody who's listening to this, if you have more questions for me personally, one-on-one, I'm actually going to deep dive into what I just taught more in my executive after party and really open it up for questions. And so you can bring examples in real life instances from your business to this after party. And let's really dive in there and collaborate in there and see what we can come up with as a solution. This invite is only for people who book during this session or something like that. Is that where we're going with the executive after party?
Yeah, I think it's more of in this kind of terminology, it's a little fun and it's a little twist. So if you, this is where I've seen it come into play, that some people, what they do is, if you have a workshop, there's a few type of people that you might want to invite into a second call afterwards, right? So if your call's an hour and a half long typically, so it's 90 minutes, and you've given your sale, you've given your pitch or something, or you have something private that you want to share with just a certain core team of people. Maybe you have 3 people from a group. So let's just use the VoiceLab. We have the VoiceLab group on the school platform. Maybe there's a few collaborators, or one of the people that is sharing the master class, and they're giving something pretty important, and they've been there, they've done a good job. So you might want to stay for, 30 minutes or so after the call and get together. Not only you're debriefing what happened, but maybe there's some type of offer for your people that you want to share, or something that you want to give away to them for the support that they've given you for that moment, right? So if they just had the Golden Globes, you want to keep those people in a room for a few minutes and give them something. Maybe you're going to send them something. Maybe you're going to give them a gift card. There's all kinds of things you can do, but at least say thank you for being there. I really appreciate this. Maybe we'll get together and collaborate on something else. So it's it's just a real thank you moment for someone. You're not trying to sell people at this time. You're trying to say, hey, great collaboration. Let's have a moment. Let's give some gratitude and say this is what we do. Not everybody in that room gets invited. Maybe somebody showed up that you've worked with before. You have a coach or mentor. Maybe you have a higher level client that you spend time with, that you're strategizing with, and you want to invite them into that because they've been a good client. They've worked with you for a while, and you know that they're at a higher level. So you don't want to just invite anybody, and you want to have a moment where you're giving a lot of gratitude. I went to something a week ago, and it was kind of like a gratitude fest where we were talking gratitude, but we were able to share some our new products, our new hobbies, the things we were projects that we were working on, and it kind of works that way. And you want to have that moment. I don't know that it needs to be a couple hours long, but I think it's just a time to say thank you because sometimes we jump off calls so quick. You know, what are we really doing and how are we spending our time with people and are we taking that moment? But I think that comes back into the high level conversation hooks.
So so let's pause right there. What is um, the etiquette in inviting those people? How do you do it during the event? Because clearly you don't always know who's going to actually show up. Is it like an SMS sent during the thing, or and that you would have to have a VA do or have it scheduled in advance, but then again, you wouldn't know who's going to be there. How is that invitation extended? And how, if it's done publicly in the meeting, then how are you politely not inviting some people?
So you just say, hey, guys, so if just like when you get on like after let's say we had a networking. Hey, Jan, Cindy, could you ladies just stay with me for a few more minutes after the call? Maybe they didn't know about it, but they showed up. And or you can go, depends upon the event and depends upon your level into this, hey, I think you shouldn't make it that difficult. I don't think you need to do all that. I think it's like, hey, I've got a workshop I would love or a master class or something going on. Are you able to show up? If not, come by for a moment. We're going to just have a higher level conversation. Let's get in the room together because you want to. Maybe it's a good time to refer people. So
Oh,
if you had a networking event, like we had a networking masterclass with Daniel Andrews, it's about stop networking and start building relationships. And in that case, you can jump into specific people and share with them. It can be kind of just like right there, right now, impulsive in a sense. It feels right, or it can be like, hey, we're gonna have Jan, Cindy, Bobby come all in here. I don't know why the Brady Bunch is in my head, but you invite them and say, hey, I want you to meet Daniel after this. Daniel's going to be here. He says he's got about 15-30 minutes to come by. I'd really like you guys to get in a conversation with us. So
okay.
it's just really that kind of powerful invite. I think if we think about it too much and we go too deep into it, I think it becomes a different type of event and it doesn't work as well as it's kind of supposed to be a low key.
I kind of like that. I feel like it's multifaceted. And so not only are you elevating those people that you're inviting to that and making them feel strategically valuable, but you're opening the conversation. You can make introductions. It can be short, really, but being able to make those introductions and being able to single them out a little bit says you are special, but it also, for the people who aren't invited, maybe puts you in a little bit more of a position of authority. And they're like, I wonder what they're doing behind closed doors kind of thing, right? And
Mhm.
so maybe they want to show up next time and see if they're chosen to stay or something like that. So yeah, take us into high value conversation hooks.
So when you're coming into the high value conversation, and this comes right out of basically that executive invite, right? So there's all these fancy terms that people want to put on things, but there's something that we probably already do anyway. So when you're getting into that, what's the challenge is the tension early to create that suspense. So the moment that, hey, so here's an example that I found that I kind of like. The moments the lights went out, I realized I was the only one who knew the code to the emergency exit. That's bringing someone in, right? It's like a good novel where you have that chapter and you want that hook. There's conflict there, which is going to bring into curiosity. It's a statement. So this is really just coming back to the hook that you're using for your social media. So when we're working on this, and whether it's your podcast or your summit, how are you bringing people in there to kind of entice them into it? And here, this is something that we kind of overthink, but something that we've done for years, but we ditched because AI came into it, and everybody wanted this key word for the day or this turnkey sense of whatever that we took away from military. I mean, not military, but that was boots on the ground, but we took away from real estate. All these hooks to get people into a conversation, which turned into a bunch of pitch slapping down the road. But here, coming back to the high value conversation hooks, there's great openers, and you did this great with an email that you were talking about with somebody that we had on Monday Morning Business Foreplay. But there was a hook in that email that you used that was great, but it actually went to the email. I think where we're losing with hooks is it's a hook that has nothing to do with your email, or your social media, or the title of what you do. You just want somebody to click and then they don't stay. So you lose people in trying to do that. But you want to have value in something that will probably is catered to your audience. And that's what you used the other day when you sent out some emails, right?
Right. So specifically, I asked Billy, which is funny because Billy and I had connected a couple different times. And really, I felt like there was great synergy there. And I really love what Billy's doing and support him wholeheartedly. And then I noticed that he quit opening my emails. And I was like, what the heck, boy, what are you doing? And so I actually, the hook said, okay, you're making me sad. You're not opening my emails. And then he opened it. It said, so inside I put, so you're either disengaged, don't find interesting at all what my emails are about, or you've moved on. But I saw a lot of opportunity and alignment for collaboration here. And so if you feel the same way, let's get in another conversation. And I put my booking link, and of course he booked, and that was a few months ago. But just being able to, I know that we automate so many things, and I want to say that we do automate so many things, but when I go back through my emails, if I see that somebody's dropping off on their open rate with me, specific people, then I go in and create something specifically for them that's like that and send that out to really get their attention, and not to everybody, but to the people that you really felt that synergy when you met with them, or multiple times when you're like, yeah, I can totally support this business. Those are the people that you want to continue building good, deep relationships with, that really, so that they know you more than just surface, right? And so those are the people that you want to step outside your automations and really connect with. Can you give us a couple of high value conversation hooks that we could use to bring people in to stay later? That's not just, I want it to be tantalizing so the people who aren't invited to stay later feel like, oh, why am I not going to that? But I also want it to be where the people that are hearing it and are invited understand the power of it. Do you have any, like, on the top of your mind? I know I'm putting you on the fly, but
No, I don't honestly. But what I would say is that really coming in. I mean, I've got lists of hooks, obviously, but I don't have that. So, but what I will say is when you're going through something, it's dependent upon what you're sharing out there, and it does take time to get that out there. You want to take time to develop that and have your list and bring that out. But I mean, for me, it's not spontaneous. For me, it's in this moment, is that going to work? So it takes time. Here's your title. It takes time. Here's the hook that goes along with your title. And here's the hook, may be different from your newsletter than your social media. So there's a lot of that goes into that. But it just depends. Like you said, who are you talking to? What is the relationship that you have? So I think is a little bit more thoughtful when you're going deep into that of how you're approaching that. But if we go back and we're looking at that, we're just about out of time today, you guys, and we'll talk a little bit about the Plot Twist Summit. I do want to share that with you. There are a few more spots there, and we really want to bring back to people like, hey, this is the advantage of being an entrepreneur and being public. We have all these tools here, and how do we utilize them to promote our business? And a book is a great way to promote your business. and maybe your business is promoting your book. So however you look at that, who are you inviting, and who are you getting into the room with, and what conversation are you having with them? So you want to bring that in. And sometimes it's not just a spicy hook. Sometimes it's the moment that you're saying, what is our relationship building together?
So Nicole, as you
Yeah.
pull that up, I want to say a couple things. First, I want anybody that's watching this, I don't care if it's a replay or not, I want you to drop any kind of lead magnet in the chat that's been working for you or that you think is creative and up and coming, so we can all go back and look at that. And then Nicole, let's talk a little bit about the book thing, because I'm going to speak at the Plot Twist Summit. I have zero interest in writing a book, so I'll just put that out there. Why am I speaking there? Because I offer a way for authors to build out a landing page and really build up their email list and start converting the leads that they get from summits. And so it's not just authors, right, Nicole? It's going to be anybody that can benefit from your service that isn't an author. So if you do book covers, if you get authors on podcasts, if you do ghostwriting, if you do graphics inside, or if you teach people to write books, anybody that has anything in that realm can come. And obviously I'm going there for storytelling too, because library time is my favorite time, when I can listen to everybody's story. And then I love what you've talked about before, Nicole, where the author's lead magnet can be an audio clip. I love that. And so, yeah, let's dive into Plot Twist a little bit more, but let's make sure that if you are anybody that services anybody that's an author in any way, then this is also a good stage for you, right, Nicole?
I think it absolutely is. You know, there's so many books out there, and a lot of these ebooks become books, or these books become ebooks, and we take it away. We have so much information, and it is a great way. CEOs in corporate America used books if they gave a talk. It's a way to, you can give something away. You can give somebody something tangible. It's a great gift. It's a better connection for people. I have a few of those. I have the Key Person of Influence. When I went to a conference last year in January, we got that book from Kevin Harrington, and he signed it. It's also co-authored with Daniel Priestley. And the reason I say that is he wrote a book and he's an author. He makes lots of money, but it is a plug in a sense. You are promoting yourself, you're sharing with people. But I'm going to go home and I'm going to read this. I'll probably read the book when I'm in the hotel. There's so many ways that your book is great for branding and it's great for marketing. But nonetheless, if it doesn't have anything to do with your business, and maybe it's just a story that you want to tell about your family, or an adventure you went on, maybe you're chasing Bigfoot, who knows? Maybe it was a passion of yours that you want to share. Maybe you're getting ready to create a YouTube channel. But you know, it's important to come onto the stage and do this, just like a book signing. It's a virtual book signing, basically, to share that the journey and the development of your book and the articulation of why this all came together. And I loved going to libraries and having story time, or you open the book and, you know, somebody's reading from this. And I love the old biography in the AE channel, and you're bringing this all together to realize that this is great marketing for your business. I don't want you to get lost in some publicity PR that somebody tried to con you in, that they're just going to market you on social media, that you could have done for yourself for 5 minutes and spent there engaging.
Right.
So it's looking at the full picture, and this is what we're looking at with the leverage: is what's the full picture of the publicity tour of your book. And did you just write a book? And I know so many authors that wrote it because it was their passion project, but they don't talk about it. And if you have a subject that you want to talk about, and a solution in this world in these hard times that you have, that you wrote in your book, and you're like, hey, I got the solution right here for you. Get my book, get my book. You're the best kept secret. Nobody knows about it. So you want to tell a little bit of that story, and you want to share that. You can read a chapter. You can definitely give an audio book away for your freebie or your VIP. Maybe you're giving somebody a chapter of your book on a video. You read the book, or they upgrade to VIP. They upgrade to VIP and they get maybe the whole book that you've gone into. But it's an enticing way to really be cyclical about the evolution of where the story should be going and what you're talking about. You know, that makes you the expert. That's the bottom line. It makes you the expert. if you're the #1 bestseller, you still have to share. You still have to have some type of publicity, so come on the stage. And there's so
Right.
many people that wrote their book, left it on the shelf and walked away from it, and then nobody's buying their book. So what happened? If it has a solution, if it solves a problem, maybe it solves world hunger, or maybe it's just a great, hey, I used to mentor with Mother Teresa. I was an apprentice with her. Here's the journey we went on. That's a good story because it'll get people involved, going back to you and Mother Teresa. So there's a connection. So this is what stages are meant for.
Yeah, and I think too, so we're going to share the stage where I'm not sure if you're speaking. I'm speaking. I'm going to share the stage with Mary Ferris too, and she has a publishing company, and she also teaches people to write books. And so not just authors already, but if you've ever thought, I really want to write a book. When I took care of my mom really wanted me to document the journey of her Parkinson's and the care and all the aspects, and I didn't do it. Part of the reason I didn't do it was because I didn't know how. And so if you have a great story living inside of you that you want to share, that you just don't know how, this is the place to come to. Come as an attendee then and learn. Get in contact with Mary and with ghostwriters that will be there and other people that will be there. Learn the pathway to create and build that successful book. That's really just a great opportunity. And then also, I'm going to wrap up the end of it by bringing in and building out for authors the landing page and teach them to cultivate and nurture all the leads they get in here. And so that's a huge part of it. That's like the final wraparound. Nicole's going to get you seen and heard, and I'm going to help you stay valuable in these people's lives that become your lead magnets. So, Nicole, when is that? And when is do you have a cutoff date for signing up?
So, we don't there is not an early cutoff date from there, so there is some more time. There's a few weeks left that I want to get you together and make sure we have everybody coming in, and that you get all the swipe, and that you're ready for the stage. But that's Tuesday, April 21st to Thursday, April 23rd. It's free to attend. Why not? You may there may be some great people that you can collaborate, if it, with, and learning the marketing and all about book launches and writing. It's the tools for the trade. There's some stuff that I'm talking on about for the plot twist. It's really audio, video, sharing, some ways that you can do it yourself, and working with you on how to do this journey, and utilize the tools that you have already. So sharing that, and just bringing in some good stories. We're going to have some great conversation. We're going to have a gathering, a speaker panel on the first day, and you get to come in as an audience member and ask your questions as well. Get involved, network with the speakers, network with the panel, and ask them questions. Maybe jump on a call with them, connect with them on LinkedIn. And this is just bringing that social engagement, and this is what we're talking about with high value. This in and of itself is a high value hook. How are we getting people in here, and how are we getting them to stay? So we're going to have that hook in there for you to come on the stage, for you to share your story, and just make it a powerful 2026.
Yeah, Nicole, now most authors write their books in private. And so this could be a big jump from writing in your bedroom with the door shut in the dark of the night, pouring out your heart into this book. And now you've published it and you keep it in your bedroom on the nightstand because you're unsure about the public part of it. And so for people who are in that position, who want to speak about their book, who really want their book to get out there, but they're apprehensive because that is not their highlight reel. Being able to stand up in public and share something that's so deeply personable to them is not their highlight reel. How do you work with them to make them comfortable on stage? What opportunities do you offer them so that they can get up there and shine and look good, even though this is like 100,000% not their thing?
So, and it's not, that is so true. It's not a highlight reel. It's your book. It is personal. It may be there is conversations that you want to have, and you want to make it where you can share it. So you want to have those conversations with people and come on the stage. So working with people, if you want to come on the stage and you're a seasoned speaker, you're a seasoned author, you've got the thing, come on stage. There's support for you there. That's wonderful. Bringing in more publicity, getting live on a podcast, getting live, being live, connecting to the audience. It's more connection. We want to get away from the trust recession. So I'm opening more spaces for you to connect with the audience and collaborate with the other speakers. But if you're an author and you're like, hey, and techies are this way too. We kind of stay away, locked in our home because we've got this whole imagination thing going on in our head. Sometimes we end up living in our head a little too much than going outside. And maybe this is something more personal. So it's what you're comfortable sharing, and it's how do you want to share that. So if you find something that you're comfortable sharing and what part of it that you're comfortable talking about, that's a great thing to present on the stage and then to work with. So if you come in as a speaker, if you need help creating an account to get on something and work on the back office, there's time we get on speaker calls. If you need, because I use a certain platform, it's free, but I want you to get more publicity. If you have an issue coming on live on the camera, you're not ready to speak, maybe you just need to do an interview style. And then people can interact with you, and you don't have to worry about what's going on in the chat. You don't have to worry about what people are saying. You can just stay concentrated and you don't lose focus. So it's just a great place wherever you're at in your business, wherever you're at in your speaking career. I want to make it that the stage is a good place for you so that you come back and do it again and realize, oh gosh, this was so easy. And why do I know that this works and what I do works if you're a newer speaker or even if you're seasoned? Was because one of my very first summit was in virtual reality with domestic violence victims who could not come on the camera. So we came in like panda bears and animals and stuff. And by the time we practiced, we met together once a week. We had a group meeting and I met them where they were at, identified them, they were comfortable. And actually, in all honesty, by the time the summit was ready, they came on camera and they were ready to come on camera. And so that is the magic, and you want people to know about your story. So that's the best way to do it.
I love that you can tailor their presentation and really collaborate with them so that they come in where they're comfortable. Because here's the truth of it. We've heard this over and over. Your first time, you're just not going to be prepared. You can try, but you're never going to be fully comfortable your first time. You don't get comfortable until it's the second, third, fourth time. You've done it. You know what to expect. But you providing that blanket of security saying, hey, let's do it your way. You don't have to come on camera. We can do interview style with just a picture of your book up there if we need to. Whatever that looks like to break the ice, to get them out there. This can be an absolute game changer for the bedroom authors who are enclosed and not really comfortable sharing everything yet, but they know they need to do that in order to get the traction under the sales of their book, in order to progress in their business. And so that's a great service that you offer. And I really have appreciated that. I know when I first did my summit with you, the summits the 4, 5, 6 I had done before that, there was no communication with the host beforehand, except to say, be here at this time. And so with you, I think that I turned in questions I wanted you to ask me, and I had answers prepared in advance, and we rehearsed that, and I was more comfortable. And now you just need to take the mic away from me because I just don't shut up. So with that, I'm going to shut up.
But absolutely, wherever you're at, I want you to come on the stage. And I'm passionate about this. I love doing this. I'm not a speaker trainer, but I will help support you where you are at and give you the place to shine. And that's the most important part is that you come out. If you look good, in all honesty, I look good. So I want you to be comfortable out there and to feel good, and to knock it out of the park, have some fun with it. And that's what's really important, is to enjoy what you're doing. And this is why you shared it, right? You don't want to be the best kept secret. You don't want to wait until years gone by that you get discovered. You want to stand out. I mean, look at Bob Ross, right? He painted simple paintings, but he just showed up on camera, and that's what he did. It was the dedication. So come on out. You can come out you can be a Leonardo da Vinci, or you can come out as a Bob Ross, wherever you're at. You don't have to get a perm on the hair, but you know, so it's great information today. This is why your lead magnet is so important, and why your back office is important, and how you show up on the stage. Because once you set it and forget it, you automate and delegate, you can come on this stage and you can absolutely leverage this as a marketing engine, and it's a no-brainer. It's very easy. And I'll be taking the mic away from you soon. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you Thursday.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Why doesn't it?